and come to children stepwise. Even though they make mention of them and those, why God never be afraid. Why God, you know why? You know why? Yes, they might be out of a pagan. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous travel the countenance of the Almighty One. Them of the heart of demons. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. So people see hostility, rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. We I see that they run down left mommy. This cover the our run with 5 beginning. Our I.S.U.P.K have been baby. Nothing that happen now do not seem to amaze way. We know that is the fulfillment of prophecy. Our I.S.U.P.K them not build school is church and penitentiary. Church, they be never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Listen, you check you and me check me, and let's bring more love in our community. There are the heart of a pagan. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. I just walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them are the heart of demons. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. I just walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Respect the father of the prophet Moses and Abraham. You have to respect the father of Jacob and SHALAM. Respect the creator of many nations. He made the birds, he made the beasts, the fishes of the ocean, and pass for them to gander with it. And he made the man, he made woman, children, the future of the land. So if you could disrespect the creator, man, 72 nations, bow down and crown and conquer when one. It will be beautiful in the sight of God, the Holy One. To see the unification of my nation. Them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk the right and do the wrong shall be spot with ministry. When the heathen have come to children stepwise. Even though they make mention of them and those, why God never be afraid. Why God, you know why? You know why? Yes, them of the heart of a pagan. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous travel the countenance of the Almighty One. Them of the heart of demons. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. So people see hostility, rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. We I see that they run down left mommy. This cover the our run with 5 beginning. Our I.S.U.P.K have been baby. Nothing that happen now do not seem to amaze way. We know that is the fulfillment of prophecy. Our I.S.U.P.K them not build school is church and penitentiary. Church, they be never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Listen, you check you and me check me, and let's bring more love in our community. There are the heart of a pagan. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. I just walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them are the heart of demons. The children of the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. I just walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Respect the father of the prophet Moses and Abraham. You have to respect the father of Jacob and SHALAM. Respect the creator of many nations. He made the birds, he made the beasts, the fishes of the ocean, and pass for them to gander with his mighty. And he made the man, he made woman, children, the future of the land. So if you could disrespect the creator, man, 72 nations, bow down and crown and conquer in one. It will be beautiful in the sight of God, the Holy One. To see the unification of my nation. Them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of believers. The children have the heart of a lion. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. People see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. We I say that the run down left mommy to some of the hard road with 5 bikini. Our I say baby happy baby. Nothing that happen no do not seem so amazing. We know that is the fulfillment of prophecy. Our I see them not build school, it's church and penitentiary. Church, then the penitentiary never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion. People are moved with Satan.
Yeah, Shalom Israel.
Yes, sir.
We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. We've been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969, that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right. Before we get into the classes tonight, right, we will go through the schedule of the classes of the Trinidad and Tobago camp, locally here in Trinidad. All right. On a Monday, right, on a Monday night, right, is the history class, which is done by Priest and Officer Makar Kobal. On a Tuesday, is the brotherhood class, which is done by Priest and Officer Swap Yala. On a Wednesday, which is tonight, right, is the law class. Right, this class is usually done by Priest and Officer Matquayak. All right, I am Priest and Officer Maikwa. I'll be holding it down tonight on behalf of Priest and Officer Matquayak. Right. On a Thursday, we don't have any classes locally, but from time to time we stream the classes straight from Harlem, New York, with 12 Shield General Mahaiman. Right. On a Friday is the Lashon Kodash, which is the Hebrew class. Right, which is the holy tongue or the native language or the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? Here in the I.S.U.P.K, we learn to write, read, and speak Hebrew, right? This class is usually done by Priest and Officer Yakad. On a Saturday, right, is our Sabbath service. The Sabbath service is usually done by Priest and Officer Yakad and Priest and Officer Sowapiala, right? And from time to time, you may see other brothers run the service as well. All the classes run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. right, during the week, right, and also on a Saturday, right, the classes, the Sabbath service run from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, right. On a Sunday, right, we have our scripture breakdown class. This class is done by Priest and Officer Galawan, which he is the head of the Trinidad and Tobago camp locally here in Trinidad. All right. This class is the scripture breakdown class. It's a highly interactive class where you could tune in and ask your questions. Right. Whatever questions you may have about the Bible, you could tune in, right? And on the YouTube or Facebook platform, and you could interact with the class and ask whatever question they have about the Bible, right? And you'll be able to get it answered. All right. This class also on a Sunday runs from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. as well. All right. So that is the breakdown of the classes locally here in Trinidad. Remember to subscribe to the I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago YouTube page and the I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago Facebook page as well. All right. We also have a Instagram page as well, and we are also on the TikTok platform as well. So you could go over to these various platforms and like and subscribe the content, right? You'll be able to view the older videos and be able to see past content, and I have a lot of interesting content on the site, so you'll be able to view it, interact with it, and it also had the contact for the school, the numbers for all the relevant people in the school, right? So to get in contact with the school as well, right? Email addresses and phone numbers and things like that. Right, so we're going to get into the class tonight, right? as the topic says on the screen, tonight class is to learn to hate evil, right? And that is something that the Christian church, as we were growing up, right, as we all know, whoever went to the Christian church, or if you went to a Muslim mosque, or if you went to a Mandir temple, right? If you was a Hindu, you understand, right? Because a lot of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian in all type of religion now, right? Being Egyptology and some of them, I know the Egyptology the Egyptology section had different sects, right? Like Kemet and I thought next one is called Nuwapian, right? A lot of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians in these different type of religions, right? But one thing that all these religions have in common, that they do not teach, right? For the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to stay away from evil, right? They get themselves entangled in all type of evils of this world, right? And a lot of things that we tend to think is right, right? And only on a second visit, or somebody who able to teach you and point in the right direction, you'll be able to see that these things are actually evil in the sight of the Most High power, right? So we will go into the first scripture, your whole Amos 5 and 21 from it, Baba Kusha, right? And a lot has passed this week, and it had the whole entire Mother's Day weekend scheme, understand? And thank the Most High, understand that the Most High drunk it out with Corona, right? When nobody couldn't go anywhere, right? They couldn't go anywhere to buy no gifts, right? They couldn't visit the mother, understand? And all the pagan traditions that happened during these holidays, right? And some of them even lost their parents due to the COVID, right? And the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And these holidays, we were never supposed to be celebrating in the first place, right? All these holidays like Mother's Day and Christmas, Easter, right? Valentine's Day, Halloween, all these things are pagan holidays in the sight of the Most High, right? Man was never instructed to celebrate none of these holidays. All these things was man-made and made after different gods, right? And it's only when you look back in the history of these specific days, right, that you will get to realize that not many, but all of them come from different gods celebrated through time, through the different empires, right? Straight from the Babylonian Empire to the Persian Empire to the Greek Empire to the Roman Empire, come all the way up to the American Empire now, right? The American Empire known as Babylon the Great, right? Or the daughter of Babylon, right? All these pagan holidays are keep celebrating, and they are after strange pagan gods who neither our fathers have ever known, right? We never used to celebrate these things, right? So you give me Amos 5 and verse 21, Baba Kusha.
Amos 5 and verse 21. I despise your feast days.
Right, so the Most High say he hate and despise our feast days, right? And the reason why he say that is because the days that we celebrate, he never gave us that, right? He never gave us Christmas, he never gave us Easter, Halloween, right? He never gave us Valentine's Day, he never gave us Carnival, and all the different days we celebrate. He never gave us Father's Day, neither did he give us Mother's Day, right? Go ahead.
I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
Right, and he will not smell in our solemn assemblies, meaning he will be nowhere near around that, right? He will not allow his presence to be around these unholy days, right? Go ahead.
Verse 22. Though you offer me burnt offering and your meat offering,
go ahead,
I will not accept them.
Right, and he will not accept them. All the things that they say Christmas, that they're celebrating the birth of Christ, right? He said no. And as he never tell us to celebrate that. He's not accepting that, right? Go ahead.
Neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beasts.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy song.
Right, and he said, take thou away from me the noise of my song. That's what we call music. You understand? All them Christmas carol and all them love song is singing on Valentine's Day, right? And the nice special CD that you buy for your mothers and Mother's Day, he don't want to hear that. You understand? He don't want to hear none of these songs. You understand? They say that is noise to him. You understand? The way noise is, a man take a piece of iron sheet and he banging on it. You understand? That is we hear. You understand? Right? None of we feast days. The Most High never told us to celebrate that. Go ahead.
For I will not hear the melody of the violence, the
violence, right? So none of them instrumentally, he don't want to take no part in that. And understand? The Most High never gave us these days to celebrate. All these days, plenty of these days, right? Some is after Roman gods, Greek gods, right? African gods, right? And the Most High say all these gods are dead to him, right? Continue. Salakia, drop down to verse 26, Babakasha.
Verse 20. Amos chapter 5 and verse 26. But you have borne the tabernacles of your Moloch and Chion.
Right, and you say you have borne the tabernacles of your Moloch, right? We take on the religion and culture of all these other nations. We take on the religion culture of man, the Chinese, the East Indian man, the African man, right? All these different religions that we take on. We take on the tabernacle of our Molech word.
Your images, the stars of your God,
right? And Chion, the images, the star of your God, right? Chion was the star at the religion of Molech, just like how Christ is the star of Christianity today, right? Just like how Muhammad is the star of Islam, right? So Chion was the star of Molech, right? And all these is pagan gods, right? All the Muslims who traveling to Mecca to walk around this big Kaaba stone, right? And trampling one another, right? The woman being sexually assaulted, right? While they're walking around the Kaaba stone, right? All these evils happening in all these different religions. The Catholic priests, right? There's homosexuals, right? Molesting everybody who send the children to the church, right? And until it becoming big scandal where the church had to settle, right? And imagine that the church settling a molestation case, right? When a case gets settled, it means the church pay money. So the church admitting guilt to the point where they have to try to pay compensation to people for a man raping you. You understand? That's how sad this society too. Understand? The Christian pastor, right? Some of them molesting children, and some of them who physically molest you, mentally molesting you. Understand? Because by the time they're done with you, you celebrating every pagan thing that had come out. Understand? All the LGBTQ, I saw all of them as Christian. Understand? When you see them in the protest and they had a big rainbow flag, you understand? You see all of them with a Jesus piece around the neck. Understand? All them mob 6 gangster who murder people, hundreds of people, always counting the rosary around the neck. Understand? That was showing you, because that way the Christian church does treat. The Christian church does teach lawlessness. Understand? And it'll tell you that it don't matter. You understand? They just say, well, God forgive me and dies it. You understand? They don't have to do nothing. You understand where I'm coming from? And because the Christian pastors and leaders and pastors, leaders, all these religious denominations keep saying, you understand, that they just had to lie down and believe and then do nothing, right? And the Lord will forgive your sin, right? They're making people go astray. You understand? Because they're making people feel like it's sin today and then tell God sorry tomorrow, right? When that is just not the case. You understand? Like you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Either way, you're with the Most High or not. All right? That was the end of verse 26, Babakasha.
A little thing.
Read the last piece.
Which you made to yourselves.
All right, and I say which you made to yourselves. So it's showing you that these religions from way back, right? From way back in the time of Amos, understand? All these things were man-made religions. Men came up with these religions, understand? And formed their own philosophy and their own doctrine, and they use it to either conquer other people or to control people, understand? And put them under subjection, to put their God on top. Just like how you see the typical just like how you see this the typical white Jesus today, right? They use this for centuries to control people. And some people grow up thinking that God white. And some thinking Jesus white, thinking the angels white, thinking the prophets white, right? And they use that to control you for years, because when you know that or when you think in your mind understand that Christ white, every white man or white person you see, you believe them to be God. So you believe them to be your rulers. Understand? And that's how they was able to take control of slaves for years. Right? Even in the King James 1611 Bible, right? They take out the Apocrypha, right? And taking all the Apocrypha, that would they used to control the slaves, because the Apocrypha had all this the slave rebellion, right? Is in the Apocrypha. And they know if a slave should read with the evilness that white people do, because the Apocrypha carry the accounts of the Greeks, which is white people, right, going into the Roman Empire. And if they read that, they don't know that white people is no God. And as come from, and they strip them to nothing. And as so they remove it. And as so then now the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians at that time remain ignorant to the fact. And as and thank God for commanding GEN.YAHANNA and the I.S.U.P.K and all the elders before. Since 1969, this truth has been coming out, that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Jews, that Christ is black, the prophets black, understand? The angels black, right? All these things have been able to come out now. And if these things were known before, imagine the kind of uprising that they might have in the world today, understand? Because nobody would be accepting Easter and Halloween and Christmas and gay rights. Understand? Because when you look in Leviticus 20 and 13, tell you a man shouldn't lie with another man, like if it's a woman. You understand? Just paraphrasing. You understand where I'm from? Because they're making it known that's not supposed to happen. That is an abomination to the Most High. Right? A woman should never lie with another woman. All these things, right? All the adultery scriptures, all these things, right? Written and stated in the Bible, but the Christian church doesn't follow nothing. Nothing when it comes to that, nothing like that they follow. One person divorced in the church today, next 2 days they're married somebody else. That's a normal thing, you understand? Right? And then they come into church the next Sunday and bless God. You understand? Okay. Yeah, so that is the craziness that is happening in the churches today, right? You give me Psalm chapter 139 and verse 19, Babakosha. You understand? That is the evilness that is happening in the churches today, right? And even and that is why the on that commanding GEN.YAHANNA, right? He has taught us, all the men, right, and women and children in the I.S.U.P.K, right, to do what? To learn to hate evil. Understand? Right? To eschew evil, as the Bible says, right? In the book of Job, right? So you give me Psalm chapter 139 and verse 19, Babakosha.
Psalm chapter 1?
139 and
139.
Yeah, and verse 19.
Psalm 139 and verse 19. Surely thou wilt say, the wicked, O God, depart from therefore, you bloody men.
That's right. And I say, surely God will slay the wicked, right? And these are the scriptures that the Christian church do show you. And that's where I'm from. That is why we just stay in evil, right? Because we do understand the consequences that we will face if we walk this type of life on the face of the earth. And understand, it says, surely God will do what? Slay the wicked, right? And he said, oh God, depart from me, ye bloody men, because that blood remain in your hand. So all the murders are taking place all over the world, right? And you might see a man kill a man, and it appearing that he gets away or he get off the case. All these things remain on that man. And that's not coming from, right? And he now continue to do what? Add sin on sin. So he get away with one murder, you go and kill somebody else, and the cycle keep going and going. And he doesn't understand that one day he will have to pay for that. And even if he dies, right, not being held by the law, that final judgment is with the Most High. The Most High will have a final judgment over him, right? Go down to verse 20, Babakosha.
Verse 20. For they speak against thee wickedly, and thy enemies take thy name in vain.
Right? They like to speak against God wickedly. And that's where I'm coming from. And what they're saying, they're saying the white people in Israel is the Jews. Understand? They speak wickedly against the Most High. Understand? Right? And they say what? And their enemies take their name in vain. How they take the Lord's name in vain? Understand? By saying God love everybody. Understand? By saying what? God said to celebrate Christmas. Right? And God say even though he's a lesbian or a homosexual, that he still love you. Understand? You're taking the Lord name in vain because he never said that. Understand? Right? The Most I call these things abominations in the scriptures. Understand? Right? The sleeping with another man's wife. Right? And all these things is abomination to the Most High. That is adultery. Right? Fake Israelites talking about they could rape people. You understand where I'm coming from? All these things is abomination to the Most High, right? They're taking the Most High name in vain, right? Continue.
Verse 21. Do not, I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee, and not agree with those that rise up against thee.
That's right. And I said, do not I hate them that hate thee. And that's where I come from. So he's saying, whoever the Lord hate, I hate too. And that's where I come from, right? And that was the Most I want. The Most I want us to hate the evil things. That was the Most I hate the evil things. And if you're doing evil things, the Most I will do what? Hate you too, right? Because the Christians should like to say, well, God hate the sin but love the sinner, but that is not true. And that's where I come from. God hates all workers of iniquity. And understand that is in the book of Mark. You understand? Right? So he even hate the person who doing the wickedness as well. You understand? So both of them sending themselves down a road of no return if they do show no repentance to the Most High, right? And he say, am I not agree with those that rise up against me? Yes. You understand? That is the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA. You understand? All those who rise up against the Most High, we will go out on the street and do. You understand? Preach against it, talk against it, call out the Christian pastors, and that's where I come from, and all these religious leaders, and all the imams and pundits, right? And all the people in Egyptology and Satanism and atheists, understand? Right? All these people we call out on the street because by all who rise up against the Most High, we against them. And that's where I'm coming from because why? We hate all what? Workers of iniquity, all those who come against the Most High, right? Continue.
Verse 22. I hate them with perfect hatred.
You hate them with what?
I hate them with perfect hatred.
And that is what the Christian church didn't understand. And understand? It has something called perfect hatred. And understand? And perfect hatred is to do what? Hate evil. And understand? All these abominations and atrocities in this world, right? We under the I.S.U.P.K, under command in GEN.YAHANNA, hate that. We hate evil. We hate with the Most High hate. And understand? We didn't come up with this on your own. And understand? That is with the Most High hate. And understand? The Most High say he do like your solemn assemblies and feast days, or the Christmas and Easter and Diwali and all the parasite and things. We hate that too. You understand? Because the Most High don't like that, right? Continue.
I count them my enemies.
He count them what?
My enemies.
I thought I say God love everybody. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? But here he telling you what? He hate them with a perfect hatred. All the evil doers in the world, all the wickedness, he count them enemies. And when I look around today, right? The Africans doing me wickedness, the East Indians doing me wickedness, the white man doing me wickedness, the Assyrian doing me wickedness, we can see it all around me. You understand where I'm from? And if all these people categorize, right, in the category that doing we wickedness, he say what? He count them with enemies. That's how we know who the enemies is. You understand? All those that do what? Oppress us. Understand? And constantly had a foot on the black man's neck to keep him down. Every time he try to rise, they push him back down here. You understand? Coronavirus reach. You understand? But now they're charging people for tire and light. And understand? And seat belt. You understand? Right? In hard times, in quarantine times, they're dropping the hammer. 3,000 by 5,000 by 6,000. And so it going. Now look around. What all you get in charge? You understand where I'm from? That is what going on. And when the other nations get charged, them fighting it on national TV. And understand? They'll come out and say they're not accepting that, and this and that, and who father is Gary Griffith, and so it going. And understand? Because everybody calling on what the powers that be to help them. And understand? Because they help. But for us, understand, we help is from the Most High. And that's where I come from. And people hate to hear that. They hate when they say he helps from the Most High. They hate to hear that. And that's because they like to know about bribery and scheme and schism behind the scene. And that's they like them kind of thing. Right? Continue.
Verse 23. Search me, O Most High, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts.
Right? Try me and know my thoughts inside out. Continue.
Verse 24. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting.
Right, and these David song to the Most High, you understand? He's saying what? See if there be any wicked in me, and one lead me in thy everlasting way. Turn me around, and understand? Point me in the right direction, son of man. And understand? To point me in the right direction, and understand? Help me to see the right pathway. And understand? And the right pathway is here in the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, because right here in this school, right, all we teach people to do keep the things the Most High say to do, right, and to hate evil, to eschew evil, and understand, to move away from all the wickedness and evilness in this world, right, to walk on a path of righteousness, to become a new creature in Christ. That's like the scripture say in the New Testament, right? Right, so they asking that the Most High point him in a right direction, and if you want to be pointed in a right direction, come into the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, right, and then you will see what righteous and upright men and women and children look like, right, in the world today, right. From there, I'm going to jump to chapter Psalms 97 and verse 10, Babakosha. Right, because a lot of things in the world today happening to us, understand, because men and women and society and the age we living in, right, love anything that is opposite and against God. Understand? Right? Anything to go against the scriptures, the world love that. Understand? Right? And we thinking that is love, but that is not the Most High love. That is not kindness. Understand? Right? That is evilness towards the Most High and towards one another. Continue. Give me the scripture in Psalms 97 and 10, Babakasha.
Psalms 97 and verse 10. You that loveth the Most High, hate evil.
Right? So the man who loved the Most High is supposed to do what?
Hate evil.
That's right. The man who loved the Most High is supposed to hate evil. Right? And that is one of the first things you're supposed to learn. Right? When learning about the things of the Most High. But the Christian church wouldn't tell you that. And understand? The Christian church tell you to love evil. And understand? Love Easter. And love Christmas. And love Halloween. Understand? And if it over a gift, understand, to give out to give one another for Christmas, everybody watching it like you evil. Understand? I don't. And if you send a train out to trick or treat, everybody watching in the neighborhood like you evil. Understand? If you're celebrating Valentine's, if you buy a teddy bear and a box of chocolate, everybody watching you like you evil. Understand? You the big bad black man with a big beard. Understand? Nobody like you. Understand where I'm coming from? And these are the kind of things, right, that the world try to promote, right, and make the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man look bad in the eyes of society. But when all these things are just paganism and these that the Most High told us that we should never participate in, right? That was the end of verse 97. Continue, Baba Christian.
He delivered them out of the hands of the wicked.
That's right. Understand? And if we learn to love the Most High and hate evil, he say what? What he say with the last part?
He delivered them out of the hands of the wicked.
That's right. He will deliver we out of the hands of the wicked. And that is one of the way to escape the hands of the wicked. Understand? By doing the things the Most High say for us to do. Right? So all the laws, his statutes and commandments and things that he laid down for us, right? That is how we just escape the enemy. Understand? By doing what he said to do, right? And the world try to keep us, right, in sin, So then now we have no help. We call upon the Most High, you have no help. You understand? Because they're trapped in the evilness and wickedness of the world, right? But if you could get it right and start to walk on the right path and follow the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, that is the way to escape evil. You understand? A physical way to escape just by when you come in the I.S.U.P.K, you won't be smoking cigarettes, weed. You won't be eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You won't be celebrating Easter and Halloween. What's some people that get killed on Easter? What's some people that get killed on Christmas? And as what's some people dying from Easter? And the people who dying from Easter now is because are celebrating Easter in the last couple of weeks there, and Corona take them now.
Can.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from, because all of them wanted to run across Tobago. I think I'm going to say 50,000 people went to Tobago. You understand, for the Easter, right? And when they go on and jumble up and mix up together, and now COVID take them. You understand? And because we who not celebrating Easter and Christmas was able to escape that, so escape the hands of the wicked. You understand? From what the people that die for Christmas. You understand? When they drink the drink extreme amounts of alcohol, because they could drink alcohol, but they know for Christmas they just go excessive. And I stand until men lying down on cardboard box on the ground, and they know themselves and who vomiting. And I stand what people die. And I stand where I'm from. Right? I felt I don't know fairly good in the neighborhood by me, and he at time he drinks so much that he vomit, and he won't vomit choke him to death. You understand where I'm from? So that is how dread celebrating this, because these holidays does always deal with excess. If you watch all the holidays, excess. Halloween, dread eating too much candy. You understand where I'm from? Right? Valentine's, right? You want all the love in one day. You understand where I'm from? You give all the chocolates and the biggest teddy bear. Everything is excess. You understand where I'm from? One girl get a teddy bear, small one, and next one get one big, so she mad. You understand? She jealous. You understand? And all these things is where these holidays promote. Christmas is excess. That when eating what the most harm. You understand where I'm from? Right? And everybody looking for pork harm. You understand? That when they're drinking the most rum, drinking the most beers, the most and everything. Everything is excess. You understand? Right? And that is where the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man had to remove himself from. Right? And then he will be able to escape the wiles of the enemy. Right? Where they reach on that? That was Psalm 97.
And verse 10.
Verse 10. Go down to 11, Baba Kushan.
Verse 11. Light is
sown, yeah.
Light is sown for righteousness and gladness for the upright in heart.
Right, the upright in heart, that he will be able to have a light, because he will be able to see the dangers ahead, right? And the ways to escape from these things. So he will be what? In gladness. You understand? Because why? He know. You understand? In times of Corona, you feel he going a Easter parade, because he know that not at the Most High, and he know he exposing himself to punishment. You understand? So what he do? He refrain himself from evil, and he was able to escape that calamity. Right? Continue.
Verse 12. Rejoice in the Most High, you righteous, and give thanks and remembrance of his holiness.
That's right. And give thanks and remembrance to his holiness. And that is what we'll do, just like when we celebrate the Passover. And understand? We celebrate, we give thanks and remembrance for his holiness, his separation. Because we are the Most High's special people, his separate people upon the face of the earth. And understand? We give thanks to the Most High for delivering we out of the hands of the enemies. And understand? Under the hands of the Egyptians. And understand where I come from? And even in the last days, he's going to deliver we again. And understand? Out of the hands of the enemies, with an even more magnificent deliverance. Alright? Give me Psalms 81 and verse 1, Baba Kusha.
Psalms 81 and verse 1.
And understand? So that was the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man had to move himself, right, away from evil. We must learn to hate evil, right? None of these religious organizations and leaders ever teach their congregation to hate evil. Understand? They always teach them to accept all these different pagan holidays. When you look around, one man go say he's Muslim, right? And at the end of the year, he's celebrating Christmas just as everybody else. And Christmas is our Christian holiday. And as the pundits, and as and there's Hindu, and at the end of the year is Christmas. And as all of them celebrating Halloween. And as when Easter come around, all of them celebrating Easter. And as so all these things, right? When carnival reach, all of them jumping up in the same band. I thought and all of them religion saying, don't participate in this. And when carnival reach, everybody jumping up in the same band. You understand? In revelry and nakedness. You understand? None of them clothed. You understand? None of them wearing the wherever that is called the gum. You understand? Right? None of them women wearing the hijab. All of them have on what? Two bead on our bra and the undergarment exposed. You understand? Because why? All of them is what Christian at the end of the day. You understand from because all of them saying one thing when they're doing the religion, right? Just like as we usually reading for Passover, they're saying one thing and doing something else. You understand? So that is a level of hypocrisy. You understand? Right? So all of them in when it was them physically, they feel that they're different, but when in the mind, all of them thinking on the same way, just as our Christians think. Our Egyptologist say the same thing because he eating when Christmas reach, he celebrating Christmas down the line. Where in Egypt you ever know you say nobody celebrating Christmas if you say it's African. You understand where I'm from? If you say that is an Egyptologist, you understand where I'm from? Right? And as others always say, if you how come everybody always coming from the west coast of Africa? Nobody in saying that they're from the Nuhutu tribe and putting some big bead and this in the lip. Nobody saying they're from the, you understand? Nobody want to be from the tribe cutting up the skin. You understand? Right? Or drinking horse pee and cow pee. Nobody want to be from that tribe. Everybody want to be from the tribe with the colorful clothes and head wrap. You understand? That is really the hypocrisy that has come out at these places. You understand where I'm from? Everybody want to be the rich African. Nobody want to be them who live in them tribal village who pushing big pieces of stick through the nose. You understand? Nobody want to be from them. How come nobody is a descendant of them? You understand? Them is the kind of hypocrisy that has happened. Right? So you can give me the Psalms 81 and 1, Baba Kasha.
So like I said, that's why I was talking about the Muslims and them too, right? And also when coming back all these things and them and all this hypocrisy and all too, right? Yesterday in Sando, it had some taxi drivers and them, right? So you know, pressure had a hustling everybody to go man thing, right?
Yeah.
So, how come they do now? This brother now, but he's a Muslim and thing, right? So one of the taxi drivers and them bouncing by mistake now.
Right.
So the man tell him sorry and thing. So I did not say the right people say tonight they hate evil, right?
Yeah.
They know and thing right, they beat evil and hate evil and thing, right? So how that good the man tell him sorry. Well, if you know again now you say you are Muslim and thing, how that good now you should be saying, yeah brother and thing, right?
Yeah.
You want to come out him out. He say, well, I have no respect for Muslim and thing. And well, fine. Yeah. That was the mistake he made in San Juan say that and thing.
Yeah.
So them people get like men in the world and all. Them wicked and now they know that hey, they should put this they should put this on. They take him on.
They know you're not right.
Yeah.
And that's not going from.
Take him on. They say Muslim and then he shit you guys know by go and they started them. By go come here and Muslim thing and thing.
And that only show you how as I rightly saying how them religion fake. You understand? Because they're portraying one thing, but in the real world, it's something totally different. You understand? And that as a good point to bring out it. Right, we will jump to the Psalm 81 and verse 1, Baba Kasha.
Psalm 81 and verse 1. Sing aloud unto the Most High, our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the Most High of Jacob. Salakia. Make a joyful noise unto the power of Jacob.
Yes, man, Salakia. Psalm 81 and 1. Right, so Salakia. So give me Psalm 81 and 15, Baba Kasha.
Psalm 81 and 15?
Yeah.
Psalm 81 and verse 15. The haters of the Most High should have submitted themselves unto him.
Right, the haters of the Most High should have submitted themselves unto him. Go ahead. But their time.
But their time should have endured forever.
That's right. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 16. He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with the honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee.
That's right. And if they did submit themselves to the Lord, that would have happened to them. But what they do was they hate the Lord. You understand? So now they face all different manner of calamity today. You understand? What's on people in the hospital for corona? You understand? Until that open that step down, make a step down hospital in UTT. Right? And poor build big tent complex because it getting too much people with corona in a small country like Trinidad. You understand? That I don't tell you out of hand it's all again. You understand? So Trinidad under heavy blows from the Most High. You understand? And that will show you that how serious this life could be. You understand? Because sometimes we just tend to take it for a joke. You understand? Because other people pass and seeing the I.S.U.P.K on the promenade shouting. And be like a bunch of angry black men shouting. People now used to study. And what about months we leading up to the corona before the lockdown will be on the promenade talking about the corona. You understand where I'm coming from? And everybody passing up and down, passing straight, and now corona ravaging the place. You understand? Until we so far the prime minister get corona, all them world leaders getting corona, so nobody could hide from it. You understand? First it totally out of hand. Right? That was the end of that Baba question. Give me Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 14, Baba question. So that's the craziness. And when you watch all around the world, not only corona, but different events happening around the world, you have war break back out with Palestine and Israel. And that's where I come from, right? The United States scrambling to defend all the military bases all over the world. And that's where I come from, right? Let's call this again, Brazil on that. Heavy manners with the P1 variant, that is the same variant that is coming Trinidad, that why people dying all over the place. You understand where I'm from? So there's things happening all over the world, as in China, Brazil, India. You understand? All the different places. India totally ravished, and India get ravished because at a certain time in the pandemic they started boast. You understand about how they're vaccinating the whole world. You understand where I'm coming from? And now India reach a place where they don't even have vaccine for themselves. And in some cases that are asked back for the same vaccine that they give away. You understand? That's how the Most High could bring it a mockery. You understand? Because the ones portray themselves to be the saviors of the world. That was the word of the Prime Minister. You understand? And now it turned. So it's a real serious thing. All right?
And so I guess
go ahead.
Let's say you're not talking about with the Palestinians and Israelite. When they watch wrong and think they've seen what going wrong with everybody with COVID-19. How come these two decide to go and fight war?
Yeah, that what the Most High do. Yeah. You understand? That way the Most High will make you fight war in the middle of a pandemic. You understand? Because Israel started to get some ease because there was the managed to vaccinate a large portion of the population. So they was kind of going back down to calm. And the Most High said, all right, we're all going back down to calm war. You understand where I'm from? So now they have a new battle to face. You understand where I'm from? And that is what the Most High do with no rest. You understand? No rest for the wicked. I remember we had that slang in Trinidad, no rest for the wicked. And it's a true statement, you know what I mean? So them facing the one calamity, and as the Most High say, them who say there is Jews and are not are the synagogue are Satan. So the synagogue are Satan had to face the heat. And that's where I come from. Yeah. So
like when you watch it and note you see a little clip today, and also right there they say how these people want to go against like one for we the China Israel, like we not to be any Most High, and just seeing what happened, and then after now we enemies and them. They still want to enslave black people and I
That's
want to
true.
know how Mr. Something come out that man.
Yeah.
And that's true how I'm Mr. Stay down. I just see a building that's whoop,
Yeah,
that's coming like nothing and
yeah.
like I say, but wait now.
Yeah.
And they still don't want
they
still don't want them anymore.
And as you kept saying, you will get worse.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I'm from, so they rightfully saying just how they seen it and they still don't want to hear. That was like Pharaoh in Egypt. And as when they say the most I had in the heart, and as because he's seen plague after plague and they still don't want to hear. He get fly, frog, locust, and and they still want to hear until what they end up losing all the firstborn, and they sit down in darkness. Understand? So they will keep going on until eventually they will get to realize because the scripture tell it, every knee go bow and every tongue go confess. Understand? That he is the true power. Right? So you could go ahead with that scripture, Baba Question.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
But if you will not hearken unto me, I will not do all these commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15.
Go ahead.
Verse 15. And if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments,
Mm-hmm.
so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you will break my covenant.
Right. So the Most High saying, if you will not hearken unto him and to do all the commandments, and you despise his statutes, or if you abhor his judgments, so that ye do not do all my commandments, do not do all my commandments. This will happen to you. Go ahead to verse 16.
Verse 16. I also will do this unto you.
Mm-hmm. So he's telling you what you go do to you if you don't follow it. And this is a funny thing here. Imagine the scriptures telling you beforehand what's going to happen to you. Right? And the Christian church doesn't see this. Understand? That's why they like to tell you that the Old Testament done away with, because they don't want to see this. Understand? They don't want you to see this. Right? And that's why the I.S.U.P.K to say, we will say for all Christians to come out of the Christian church. Because that's a waste of time. Understand? Because they don't want you to see things like this. And as some of the Most High telling you, if you don't do it where the statutes and the judgments written in this book, this will happen to you, right? So read back from the top of verse 16, Baba Kasha.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror,
go ahead.
Consumption,
go ahead.
And burning ague.
Right, and that is like a fever, like how you have thing like malaria. Continue.
That shall consume thy eyes,
mm-hmm.
and cause sorrow of heart,
mm-hmm.
and you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
That's right. They will sow a seed in vain, and the enemies will eat it. You understand? So meaning anything that they choose to do, who benefit from it? Your enemies. You understand? So after you toil whole day and work hard, all your hard sacrifice going to the other nations. Them making all the money on top of it. And after you go and work hard in them store, or you work security and you're tired and you come home, who making all the millions? All the security firms, all the nations running the security firms, the supermarket, taking all the money. You understand where I'm coming from? All the banks taking their money and putting it in the bank and investing it, and then getting back a cent. You understand? So all these things will happen to you. And we just say terror and consumption. Now people in Trinidad now becoming afraid of the COVID-19. You understand? Before was right. They know COVID-19 are wrong, everybody still jumbling up and walking around. Now watch. When you go outside the road, you barely see a car. You understand? When it's 8 o'clock. You understand? You barely see cars outside because people now beginning to get frightened. Now you're hearing on the news 615 cases. You understand? I come from in a small little place like Trinidad. You understand? So when they start to see them kind of thing now they're starting to understand and becoming to see what the terror the Most High, right? Continue to verse 17, Baba Kasha.
Verse 17. And I will set my face against you,
mm-hmm.
and you shall be slain before your enemies.
That's right, we will be slain before the enemies. All like what we see with George Floyd and the military man who I forget his name. He was in the army, and the man is an army man, and police pulling him over to pass, put it on the ground like a dog, and you serving in the American military. You understand? That should make you know they can come out to the American military. A waste of time. You understand? When you look at the police force today, and the majority of the people in the police force, You understand where I'm coming from? And what's coming to happen? You're going out there risking your life and you getting COVID. You understand where I'm coming from? And just the other day, and just I was saying before, you understand? A lot of people coming up, leading up to the season, real ticket like rain. You understand? No what? Vengeance. COVID-19. You understand? No, it's time to die on the road. You understand? Because they're risking on their life. We're looking to to oppress the black man, to give more tickets and for light and tight thing we never used to charge people for. You understand? Now you're looking to oppress the black man because you're looking to what? Raise the budget for the police force. Now you get COVID-19, you have to go in the hospital. Some of them even die. Right? Go ahead,
So like I said, and that's the right way to think, because what will like is oppression now, right? So before, when you get a ticket now, right? So when I get a ticket and you get so now you have some kind of leniency now, right? So which is really no leniency. They get about almost 3 months, right? And thing, right? So now they get a ticket, the ticket long time they get about $1,000. 2 months and a half to pay, right? I've come now, they give you these tickets on them. Well, $3,000 now, triple time more. And the time span is a month.
It's shorter. So they're getting shorter time to pay more money. Yeah, and that's all ridiculous again. And imagine the don't even have the compassion, right? Because the police don't have to charge it. You understand? Because remember them using their discretion, right? And them don't have to charge every single man on the road, but they're doing it. You understand where I'm coming from? No matter how small the offense is. You understand? I see a man getting charged for chip number plate. The number plate chip on the end, on the corner. You understand where I'm coming from? That's a lot ridiculous and get. You understand where I'm coming from? So all these things now bringing more and more oppression, right, on the people. And now what happening? We gave going lockdown, and now we starting to see that even the police force now starting to get affected, the military starting to get affected, doctors starting to get affected. You understand where I'm coming from? Now you're seeing all them lawyers and magistrates who was looking untouchable. Now them getting touched. You understand? The now starting to experience for a few months what the black man was experiencing for over 400 years. You understand? The now starting to feel oppression and feel the terror the most, because why? Nobody can control this. Nobody don't know where it coming from. They don't know where to start. And I just say, well, you get vaccine, then they're telling you about a new variant. You understand? And by the time you try to battle that variant, they're telling you 2 more just come out again, and so it's going. You understand? So it has no control over this, and that's to show you that the work at the most side. Right?
Like you said, why some of them is not going and passing, because you see when you check some of these things with the police officers doing, and them themselves not doing it. So like for one, they are your house and thing, right? You have your house and you have your light bulb. They're so out that the light, there's no any light bulb going and blue, right? And then when it blue, you just go and buy it, right? How come now these people and them are getting oppression in that time to study about the job in the car?
No mercy. Yeah, no mercy. And some people can't afford, because the time when we live in now, everybody's scrambling to see how they could survive, the best way they could survive, because the clothes don't work. So imagine you're not working, but you still have to try to go and get a food for your family. And that's where I'm coming from. So it's more pressure. When you go out to get food for your family now, then they're telling you about you have a ticket for this global war, this, or do this or do that. You understand? So it's just raw pressure on the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And it's we in the bottom of society facing the worst. You understand? Because all who wealthy and have a lot of money, them staying inside. You understand? You feel them coming outside, them standing we just call them again, the servant. You understand? And the maid and whoever to go and make grocery, them don't make grocery. You understand where I'm coming from? The other day I watching on social media, they asking a man how much for I forget the thing, but I go one of them grocery items and he don't even know. You understand? Because he don't make grocery. You understand? He made and the customer them doing that work. And I just show you. You understand? So he's not even aware of what the prices in the supermarket is. You understand? That's how ridiculous it can get. You understand? Continue to verse 18, Babakasha.
Verse 18. And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins.
Right? And imagine that, you understand? He say, if I should do all that there, and you still don't listen, he say you will punish you 7 times more. You understand? So if after this whole pandemic, nobody learned nothing, expect worse. You understand where I'm coming from? Worse. You understand? And that is way headed. And when we look around, some countries they say if we get under control, some new variant break out. They back up again. You understand where I'm coming from? I'm the Japanese boasting they get under control, the Japanese back up again. And so it keep going. As should that say, right, we get under control, we have to be back up again. And so it's going because they was looking to open school for this semester here. That'll stop that. Because now it's 615 a day. You understand? So imagine that. You understand? And I tell you how ridiculous it getting down here now. So now that I bought that plan, you understand? Because by the Mosaites doing something totally different, totally opposite to what I'm thinking. Right? Go back to Amos chapter 5 and verse 15, Babakosha.
So I guess I don't know talking about that right a girl in a car, right? She said she was believing that it was man-made. First and thing, right? So believing all the talk, I see all the vain things of people be talking and things. So she say, yeah, right, man-made and thing, right? Yeah. So just as right, we see now when she watching everything outside and things now, and right, we see as you know watching she and see like everything on that control, right? So now when she start to see what happening here now, I start to see all this among that dead side kind of thing. Yeah. She said, nah, this is God. Yeah.
Son. And it will keep getting worse, and all who will believe eventually don't believe. Yeah, and like I was saying that I remember when the volcano now blowing since the first day, and the volcano blow. Everybody watching all the ashes rising in the air, but it was bright, right? It was I think it was like early morning, bright, right? Somewhere around I think about 7 o'clock in the morning, right? And everybody watching the volcano blow, and nobody studying that, everybody going about the business because no ashes and thing and falling yet. And so everybody going about the business, right? Who going in the market and wherever the downtown linemen and things as normal. And then all of a sudden the places started to get dark. And it keep getting dark and dark and dark until 9 o'clock in the morning started to look like midnight in the night. And then now people started saying, now like this God. You understand where I'm from? So that was happening. You understand? And that is only a snippet. Understand? Of what the Mosaites do. You understand? Because the Mosaites say in Egypt the darkness was so dark you could have feel it. You understand? So that is how frightening it could be. You understand? You know, like sometimes when you see power go on, you understand? How black it is turn, you can't see nothing, you have to feel around. You understand? To try to get some type of auxiliary light. To see if you can get light. You understand? See if you can get a candle or a torch light or some kind of thing. Yeah. You understand? And that the time we just get frightened. But when things swinging and light bright and everything nice, he ain't frightened. He doesn't remember God at that time. You understand? So that's how it does be for people, because we never train to really look out for the dangers and evil and the hidden dangers in the world. You understand? We ain't trained for that. We just trained to live carelessly. Right? And all them things happening because of the church and all these different religions that set up, right, around the world, right? You might Amos and 5 about
Amos 5
and verse 15.
Verse 15. Amos 5 and verse 15. Hate the evil.
Right. So you say we must do what?
Hate the evil.
Right, and that way the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man supposed to do. We supposed to hate the evil, right? So that is with the churches and teach us to hate evil, right? But they didn't do that, and now the world become lawless and upside down, right? And the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man under command GEN.YAHANNA, now we starting to do what? Retain that and starting to understand now that we should hate evil. Go ahead.
And love the good.
And love the what?
And love the good.
And love the good. And with the good, the things that the Most High say to do, the things that the things that we can do without breaking the Most High's laws. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? Without going against the things that the Most High say not to do. Right? Continue.
And establish judgments in the gate.
Right? And do what?
And establish the judgments in the gate.
And establish judgment in the gate. Right? Continue.
It may be that the Most High power of hosts will be gracious unto the remnants of Joseph.
That's right, and the Most High would be gracious unto the remnants of Joseph, right? Unto Israel, right? And that we was to do all the things that the Most High set for us, because the Most High give us laws, statutes, and judgments, right? We supposed to establish that wherever we is on the face of the earth. You understand? Keeping the Most High things sacred, right? Among the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? So that we will be able to return to rulership. You understand? Right? And unfortunately, we didn't keep these things, and we end up in captivity. Right? And thank the Most High for commanding GEN.YAHANNA. Now we could return to the things that the Most High and do it the right and upright way, right? Continue, Baba Kusha.
Verse 16. Therefore, the Most High, the power of hosts, the Lord said thus, wailing shall be in all the streets.
That's right. All the streets will be wailing. Right? And when you look around today, that's what happening. Everybody balling now because everybody realized that nobody can control Corona out of their hand. Go ahead.
And shall say in all the highways, alas, alas. And they shall call the husbandman.
All the caretakers and farmers and things like that. Go ahead.
To the mourning, and such as skillful of lamentation to the wailing.
Right, so they're calling all the mourners to start to cry now. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And in all vineyards
and in all workplaces, go ahead,
shall be wailing.
That's right. What the business association? Not the crying to the government. And understand? Do lockdown. And understand? Go ahead.
For I will pass through thee, said the Most High.
Go ahead.
Verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Most High.
That's right. Destruction unto you that desire the day of the Most High. The Christians always talking about when Christ comes. They like that day. Because the people will be singing, holding hands, singing with harp, and playing violin and quattro and whatever instrument they can think about in the head. And it will be a bright night sunny day. That would have thinking, right? That would Christians thinking in the mind. Go ahead.
Woe unto you that desire the day of the Most High. To what end is it for you? The day of the Most High is darkness and not light.
The day of the Most High is what?
The day of the Most High is darkness and not light.
That's right. The day of the Most High could be a terrible day. And that's where I'm coming from. And as the corona comes, it's only downhill for me. And that's where I'm coming from. Right, continue.
Verse 19. As if a man did flee from a lion.
And if a man, so the Guinea illustration, you know, right? Or allegory. As if a man did flee from a lion, go ahead.
And a bear met him.
Right, so he run from a lion. That way the last days is like. You're running from a lion, so you're running from one thing. You understand? You're running from corona and you end up in war. You understand where I'm coming from? Right? So you run from a lion and you end up in the hands of a bear. Right? Continue.
Or went into the house, right, and leaned.
Or again, a next example now of our next man. This man went into the house and go ahead, and what he do?
And lean his hand on the wall.
And he lean up his hand on the wall. So he run in the house and he lean up on the hand on the wall and he started rest. Woo! And make it, right? Go ahead.
And a serpent bit him.
And a serpent bite him. And that's where I'm coming from. So just like people realize corona come, they run in the house. And they only start sending all the maid and all the servants and things, all the one by all the goods, all get corona. But then you realize the maid had to come back in the house to get the food. You get corona too. And as I'm going to say, you're showing in the last days, you can't hide from the Most High. And as I'm coming from, that is how dread it is, right? For even us Israelites and the heathen in the world. You understand? Go ahead. Go to verse 20, Baba Kusha.
Verse 20. Shall not the day of the Most High be darkness and not light?
That's right. Go ahead.
Even very dark and no brightness in it.
That's right. And as I'm coming from, and that is real circumspect in these days, because when you look around, you could see the Most High in operation. And as I'm coming from, so the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man need to come into the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA and start to follow and do the things that the Most High say to do. And as the scripture said, this is the whole book and the commandments of the Most High. This is the whole book, not just the 10 commandments like with the Christian church normally taught we in the beginning. You understand? Right? The Christian church, right? According to scripture, the whole book. We have to follow everything in the whole book. And you know, a lot of people say, well, how you can follow everything inside there? You can't follow that. We could follow everything inside there. Just like how we follow all the laws in Trinidad and Tobago. And Trinidad and Tobago, we have about 1,000 laws. And we following all. We have no problem. We might think about it. You understand where I'm from? And that is when you're trained to follow the things in the Musa, you will begin to understand, and it will be very easy. Understand? To follow. In the beginning, it might feel like all is hard to follow, but after a while, you will start to understand the spirit and how the Musa does operate. And it has a lot of things here that they normally wouldn't do, because not everybody might have a love for eating pork or shrimp or crab or lobster. Some people might already be allergic to that from the world. You understand where I'm from? So you're done keeping one already. And understand? So you might as well keep the others and save yourself from pain and destruction, right?
So like I said,
go ahead.
And when you watch some of the things where people where everybody thinking out from again, right? And now I see that the most I say you're foolish and the foolish not the same, right? So some people everybody body mask and thing, right? And everybody sanitizing the hand and thing, right?
Yeah.
And sanitizing the hand, right? But then you ask yourself now this, right? The items, all the meat and thing what people going on going and buy.
Yeah, that's right.
And thing, right? And thing, you know, you're not going and say, well, hey, you said that and anything about it. They just conscious about that bit.
It's the concentration on the physical alone.
And that's the physical.
And while yes, you do have to do the physical, but I at the end of the day, at the end of all this, right? Sanitizing and masking and things, you're making sure and follow all the rules, but at the end of the day, you have to make sure to remember that is the most high in charge overall. And make sure and know that the most high who to guide you through this and keep you from all the dangers and perils of this world, right? Just like we talk about in the last days with the men who thought to get away, and some man who thought to get away from the lion, and the next one who run in the house, and they thought they were safe. But at the end of the day, the evils of the world still take them. Understand? So that is why your ultimate protection is the Most High, right? But that don't mean we will be slack and not do the normal things we're supposed to do. Understand? Just like David when he fight Goliath, yes, he had weapons to fight Goliath, but he trust was in what? The Most High, right? We'll go with two more, right? Give me Jonah 2 and verse 1, Babakusha.
Jonah chapter 2 and verse 1. Then Jonah prayed unto the Most High his power out of the fish belly.
Right, and this is when Jonah gets swallowed by the fish, right? Because he didn't want to carry the message that the Most High gave him to Nineveh at that time, right? So he gets swallowed in the belly of the fish, and when he realized that in the belly of the fish and he ain't dying, you understand where I'm coming from? Because he thought the fish that eat him and he dead and dies it. Nah, you understand? He realized he's still living long there. Now he started to get frightened now. You understand? So he started praying to the Most High, right? Go ahead.
Verse 2, and said, I cry by reason of my affliction unto the Most High.
Why he cry? Read back again.
And said, I cry by reason of my affliction unto the Most High.
That's right. He cried by reason of affliction unto the Most High. Go ahead.
And he heard me out of the belly of hell cried.
And that is what happened to the world. And understand? That will make me cry unto the Most High power. And the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man affliction. And understand? When we come on that real strain, then we just start to remember the things that the Most High tell we and what we're supposed to do. And understand? And you say, out of the belly of hell we cried. When you look around today, this is hell. And understand? Just like we have been teaching, right, since 1969. And understand? That blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian be in hell today. This is hell all around me. We look around. And understand? People dying like fly. Right? We're wearing masks for what? A year and a half now? Right? Going to 2 years? right? That is something the world never see. You understand where I'm from? Never happen in no part of the world record we had to wear masks. You understand? That is the power of the Most High to change everything, to change lifestyle. You understand the way how we just do things. You understand? And that is for Black, Hispanic, and Native man to wake up and understand what happening. And for we to do what, start to cry in the affliction. And it don't mean that we physically go in and cry. You know if we cry is coming into the truth on that command in GEN.YAHANNA. We cry is changing and doing and coming back to the things that the Most High say to do. That is how the Most High gonna know you change. You understand? By doing what? By hating evil and loving what the good. And the good is the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, back in brotherhood and sisterhood with your nation, building back your nation, building back your people, coming back to righteousness and to doing what is right, celebrating the Passover. What's how glorious the Passover was. You understand where I'm from? All over, all nations, you see people in UK, Brazil, America, all the different parts of America, Houston, New York, everybody coming together in the whole of America, all in Mexico, all in Canada. You understand? You see everybody coming together, right? Right? Who would have normally be on the street? Would have normally be strangers. You understand? But because of the truth and on the scriptures under command in GEN.YAHANNA, now we move from strangers to brothers and sisters. You understand? And that is the power of the Most High, right? And from there we'll jump and you'll give me 2 John 1 and 6, and we'll close off with that.
Second John 1 and chapter 1 and verse 6. And this is the love.
Right, and I'm going to explain to you what is love, right? Right? And the Most High say what? To hate evil and love the good, right? They're going to explain what that love is. That love is just not saying I love God in my mind, right? That it isn't saying that, right? They're going to explain what the love is. Go ahead.
That we walk after His commandments.
That we do what?
That we walk after His commandments.
And that we walk after His commandments. And when I say we walk after His commandments, when somebody tell you that I'm walking in this man's shoes, right? It don't mean he literally putting on the man's shoes and walking in it. It means he's doing what he's doing with this man used to do. You understand where I'm from? So then now, if we're supposed to walk in the Lord's commandments, we're supposed to do with all the things the prophets write about, all the things that Christ, the examples Christ set, right? All the things we're supposed to continue to do. Continue to celebrate the Passover. Continue to celebrate the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Purim, all the high holy days. Understand? Continue to not eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Understand? Continue to not becoming homosexuals and not becoming lesbians, right? And to not commit adultery, right? To not covet we neighbor property. Understand? When you're doing the things that the Most High say to do, keeping the covenant that we made with the Most High, when you continue to do that, that is the love of the Most High. Understand? We can't hug the Lord. Understand? Right? We can't physically hug the Lord, but to show that you love the Most High, you have to do what? Follow the things that the Most High say to do. So come into the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, and you will learn how to love the Lord. Understand? How to love the good and how to hate the evil. Right? And here in the I.S.U.P.K, one thing you guaranteed to know and to do is to learn to hate evil. And with that, we go pass the class over to Priest and Officer Shah. I have it here. Yeah.
Security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the word. After the 6-month period, if after 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to another brother or sister. There is another 6 months which a brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is the commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means stand in Hebrew as front and my share. 10% of every penny and increase the Most High gives to a treasury department or teacher, priest fund, fuel offering for priests, non-mandatory, whatever amount you'd like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. June 21st, that will be start at the Sabbath on 11 bread, sundown, Sunday, May 2nd, till for a period of 50 days, celebrated the 50 days, the Holy Convocation from Monday, June the 21st. You can find this in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 10 to 22. Reminder, to check on social media such as I.S.U.P.K, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and material. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, light shirt, light pants, light headband, or scarf. That beside madam. Sir, on rock, go down. Alright, no see. When I say Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayah, Fadash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Waka, Taba'a, Adazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Aratiza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashemayah, Natan, Nanao, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalakno, Asalakno, Wakino, Wala, Tabianoa, Asawan, Bal, Oshaino, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Malakwa, Wakaala, Tapara, Ilomium, Man.
What he said in the English was, Our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Sir? Let's get a teacher one quick salute. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Shemir Shabbat, Yadimata, Sa. Let's get sisters online and quick salute. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Shemir Tamba Shemir Shai, Yadimata, God Sisters.